Okay, One Piece chapter 978 is out officially and we're going to talk about it, and there are some noticeable differences in just certain dialogue moments, and so the main focus of this video is going to be the Toby Roppo and Queen and that entire thing. We're going to talk about various parts of the chapter first, but that was the thing I wanted cleared up because there were different translations saying different things, so we're going to get to it. I know I've been notorious for not caring about the cover page. However, there are moments in time where we go back and we reference the cover stories because they offer great insight as to where characters were, what characters are doing. So I just want to say, just because I'm not covering it doesn't mean the cover page isn't important. I'm just more interested in what's happening inside of Wano, and in some cases outside of Wano as well, with the warlords and the admirals and taking them down, the revolutionary stuff, Blackbeard. But as far as Capone and finding Lola, it just wasn't high on my priority list, but it's something that they probably should adapt in the anime. Maybe it could be some filler, well, some canon filler to give them some room in the anime. And the anime is going on indefinite break as well due to coronavirus, so maybe that's something they incorporate. I just wanted to let you guys know that the cover stories are important. I just choose not to focus on them at this point in time. Kinemon and Dendro. Dendro pretty much confirmed that he has been training or keeping his skills in shape the entire 20 years. Something we figured, but it was cleared up here where Dendro for the last 20 years has been training, keeping his skills sharp, because he knew this moment would come. So again, I think he's probably the strongest scabbard or number 2 to Ashura Doji in Wano right now. There are some people that think Kinemon is actually stronger though. I don't know how they come to that conclusion. Kinemon is strong, I suppose, but he's not beating Ashura Doji, Dendro, or even the Dukes. Okay, Onigashima, we have to point out again how beautiful this spread is. Onigashima is a marvel to look at. Again, the large sword. A theory that's been floating around recently, so when these things pop up, I'm going to let you guys know about it, is that that large sword will be the thing to kill Kaido. Not by Zoro, but by Eustace Captain Kidd, where he can use his metallic or his electromagnetism, and then he can pull the sword towards Kaido, and that will be the thing to actually kill Kaido. I don't think that's happening, but it would be cool. Do we see that sword in action? Probably. I think that sword is there for a reason. Could it be a weapon of one of Kaido's men? Maybe, but I think we will see that sword in action in some capacity. Another thing that I didn't really talk about was Kanjuro and where the hell Kanjuro is going. It's kind of convenient that they don't know about Kanjuro yet because he flew away and they had to get all the way to Onigashima with all the forces. So in all that time, I wonder what Kanjuro is doing, unless he's going for Hiyori. The thing that made the most sense was for Kanjuro to go directly to Orochi and Kaido. Say, hey, I got Momonosuke. They're on their way. Your plan didn't work. We need to counter-strike. Instead, they pull up to Onigashima and they're 2 people looking out. I don't want Kaido and Big Mom to fall as a result of incompetence, but I don't see it happening any other way. Of course, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to fight these 2 monsters, but getting to them is going to be a lot of incompetence. So the structure of Onigashima, Kaido's lair is all the way to the back, which makes sense, right? That's typically how lairs are, where the mansion is all the way at the back, so you have to get through all the other forces to get to Kaido. And again, shouting out Usopp, doing a great thing, taking out the 3 guards that were there with no problem at all, with his Sleepgrass Green Star. One thing about him is that he comes through when you need him most. So God Usopp for the W there. The Kinemon moment. It was an amazing moment for Kinemon. I think sinking the ships so that they can't return is a bold move. Well, they still left a few ships. So if things were to go awry, the main people can still escape. There's been something going around about how they're going to challenge Big Mom and Kaido now and they're going to fail, so they would have to come back again to fight them in a second round. Not saying it's completely dead, but if they left with just the main guys and all their forces are eradicated, I really don't see how that would make sense. Also, Kinemon's plan to use his devil fruit to sneak everyone in. Okay, at first I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Luffy still has a straw hat. Kid has a large metal arm. They have incredibly high bounties. How the hell are these people going to randomly show up at 5,000 new people to this party? Looking at the party and what Kaido's people are doing, Queen is having a good ass time. They're drinking. More people showing up. I guess you can justify it. The only thing is that Luffy, Kid, Nami, the straw hats, it's not even a great disguise. The only person that looks relatively normal and could be a part of Kaido's crew is probably Zoro. Everybody else stands out. So I think it's just a cool thing that Oda throws in here because logically, if you think about this plan, it shouldn't work and it probably won't. But I guess at the end of the day, using these disguises, it could lead to a surprise attack and they get to jump on Kaido and his men and Big Mom's men as well. Something I wanted to point out about Queen's dialogue is the fact that he confirmed that Big Mom's kids are there. So they're not at the waterfall anymore. I guess someone went and got them. They also talked about the Mimawari Gumi, the elite samurai samurai protecting Orochi. So I guess the two forces that support Orochi right now are the Oniwabanchu and the Mimiwarigumi. But it was cool confirming that Big Mom and her kids were there as well. But to the Tobi Roppo and that whole conversation, because it's a lot of details to it. It's a lot of depth to this conversation. So first, the dialogue between all of these individuals, top tier. Like it's funny, it's informative, it reveals things indirectly. So let's get into it. The conversation with Xdrake and Black Maria. Well, let's start with who's who. He says, if Queen were to die tonight, who would be the next lead performer? And then Black Maria says, I'm guessing you think it's yourself. And then Xdrake says, I have no interest. So with this conversation, the way you can interpret this is that who's who said that, and Black Maria responds to who's who and says, I'm guessing you think it's yourself. The next Drake just offhandedly says, I have no interest. Or you could interpret it as who's who says this. Black Maria then looks at Xdrake and says, I guess you think it's yourself, because Xdrake just saying that offhandedly, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why would you impede on that conversation, right? If no one's talking to you, why do you say I have no interest? So that's why the logical thing here is Black Maria, after who's who says that, looks to Xdrake and says, I'm supposed you think it's you, right? So I'm not mad at people thinking it's who's who because he's the one that said the statement, but Xdrake offhandedly just saying that, I don't know why. Like, why would you even say anything? Unless there's something that happened within that group, right? Where Xdrake, he felt like he should be the strongest, he should be the most heralded, and that's why Maria is saying something. But the reason why I'm saying it's Xdrake is because of the continuity of the conversation. After who's who says that, Black Maria then turning to Xdrake and Xdrake saying, I have no interest. Sasaki then says, if you're dropping out as a candidate, that'd be great. Pepe can't hack it either, right? So look at the continuity of that conversation from Black Maria to Xdrake to Sasaki. And then that goes into the next level of this thing, where Sasaki then makes fun of Page 1. They call him Pepe, and that's his new name going forward, Pepe. He says he can't hack it either. You're dropping out too, right? And people jumped to this and said that Page 1 could be the weakest Flying 6 member. It seems like Page 1 is the youngest member, and I think Page 1 is the one that messes up a lot. So I think it's making fun of not only his age, but maybe incompetence. So I don't think it's necessarily power scaling, but I can get where people would say Page 1 could be the weakest off of that offhanded comment. Something I also noticed in the Mimiwarigumi, there's a female that wears a mask as well covering her mouth. And I guess for Page 1 and Ulti, they each have a mask on. So I'm not sure if it's a real like brother sister thing or it's a little bro, big sis relationship where they're not actually related, but he called her his sister. So I'm going to think that they're actually brother and sister. Also, who's who? He's probably the guy who was at the meeting with the Underworld brokers. Like, honestly, if you think about it, he's probably that guy. Black Maria is still bae, like top one. Ulti is snapping on everyone. I think Ulti rose up the ranks for me. Ulti is now towards the top of the list just because of how fiery she is, right? Anyway, back to the dialogue. Xdrake talks about why they called them there just to make them wait. And Sasaki seems like he's a veteran of the group, or he's one of the older members. I'm not sure. Like, he just looks like an elder statesman, right? And he made fun of Page 1, so I think it's just like that relationship, the oldest and then the youngest. However, he says when Kaido says it's urgent, it usually means one thing. And then Ulti goes on to say another family issue then? Is Kaido stupid or something? And he says snap at anything but that. What does this mean? Kaido's family issues are a big deal. If you notice, when Ulti snaps or when she makes that comment, every other member is like, what the hell are you doing? Don't play like that. So it's a lot of things floating around, right? Either the issue of Kaido's son is a mental thing that people don't really want to touch on, or people dance around it because of how Kaido snaps. Is it a PTSD thing? Is the Kaido's son being dead thing slowly becoming a reality? Because saying is Kaido stupid or something, it's like she's making fun of his mental state. Why are you constantly having these family issues? Because your son is dead. Now, I'm not saying this confirms it, but it's like, that's a sensitive topic enough to make every other member of the Flying Six look at her like she's crazy. And then Sasaki says, snap at anything but that issue, that family issue. Again, this is giving us more depth with Kaido as far as like his internal struggle, the internal strife between his crew members as well. But this is really interesting. It changes a lot of perceptions, changes a lot of things. I'm interested in talking to multiple people about this just to see how they feel about it and what side they're on. Because again, there are multiple ways you can interpret this, right? But guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about it? How do you interpret the dialogue? I mean, I think this is the most interesting thing from the chapter by far, but give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. The support goes a long way. Follow me on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/BragoDAce. That helps me out as well. Gameplay discussions, all that is over there. No chapter next week, Golden Week, but we'll have multiple discussions questions this week and might have something special planned for you guys. So thank you for your support, like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.